Hey guys, today Big Daddy and I want to take you to an area that was once known as the Greenwood Springs Resort, Hotel, and Health Spa. As early as the 1830s, people started using the springs for recreation, family relaxation, vacationing, and of course they used the springs for their healing or curative nature. Come along with us, let's go explore. As we travel toward Greenwood Springs, let's learn a little bit about its history. In 1821, a guy named Thomas Greenwood came to Monroe County, Mississippi. He learned from the local Chickasaw Indians of a certain curative mineral springs located in a little valley about 3 miles from Quincy. Thomas Greenwood and several of his family members were able to purchase the land. He and his family and a couple other friends built cabins at the springs to be used as vacation retreats. By the 1850s, David Crenshaw and his wife Sarah owned the springs, and they decided to turn them into a public resort. The Crenshaws built a huge 100-room, 2-story hotel with a ballroom and an outdoor pavilion. They built pagoda-like structures over several of the springs so that the people would have benches to sit upon as they took to the water. A newspaper advertisement stated that this hotel is situated in a beautiful valley among the noble Sipsey Hills in Monroe County. The Crenshaws ran the hotel and resort for several decades. By 1898, Dr. H.F. Broyles bought the resort. He modernized the hotel and the grounds. The railroad was built in 1887, a couple miles from the resort and hotel, and so passenger trains brought guests in daily. They were met at the station by a surrey drawn by 2 big, beautiful black horses. This is present day what I call the Greenwood Springs General Store. Big Daddy and I decided to start this little YouTube channel to help preserve some what we think are great Mississippi stories for specifically my children and others to enjoy as well. As you can see, we're heading up a gravel road into the area of the springs, and I think this is one story that we waited just a little too long to tell. A young 16-year-old boy named Houston Blair lived at the hotel, and for 35 cents a day, he would take people from the hotel back and forth to the train. If you look real closely into the woods, you might can see some of the ruins of the hotel. In 1913, after Dr. Broyles' death, Mrs. Broyles sold the resort to Adolphus Cantrell. He was living in the hotel when it caught fire and burned. He later rebuilt and opened it once again. This is a local artist's rendition of the hotel at the Greenwood Springs Resort, Hotel, and Health Spa. On the grounds were built 8 cabins for additional guests and an outdoor raised pavilion. The bottom floor was used for storage and or parking of surreys and buggies, and the top floor was used for dances and balls. This picture is of a painting done by a local artist of what she remembers the old dance hall to look like. You can see from this photo that her memory was pretty accurate. One of my very favorite parts of this story is that the teenager who for 35 cents a day took people back and forth from the hotel to the train station, well, in 1928, he bought the resort and hotel. He and his wife continued to operate the hotel as a summer resort, and they would hold regular dances in the pavilion. And they, of course, used the hotel as their private home. Since the hotel was part of a summer resort, The Blairs would use it as their home in the wintertime. They would also board school teachers in 4 of the rooms that had their own private fireplaces. The resort included fishing in a well-stocked lake, hunting opportunities. There were several large adult swings built among the oak trees. One of the swings was in an oak tree 33 feet in diameter. Also, around the pagodas that were located at the springs, the Blairs installed what they called courting swings. On Thursday nights, they would host dances with live music, and people would come from all around. One interesting fact was that there was a concrete covering in one of the springs, and that anything that needed to be kept cool was placed there. The resort dining room could hold 180 people, and in later years, they used what you may know as ballerina green depression glass for their crystal. We're leaving the area of the resort now. Just up the highway from Greenwood Springs is the community of Wise's Gap. It was founded in 1817 by a guy named John Wise. He was allowed to live here on the edge of Chickasaw Indian Territory. This community had a church, a cemetery, and a blacksmith shop where future governor of the state of Mississippi, Tucker, worked. Just to give you folks an idea where we're geographically located, the red pin is Greenwood Springs. The town of Gapman is in Mississippi. The town of Sulligent is in Alabama. So we're real close to the Mississippi-Alabama line. Near the Wise's Gap historical marker is this present-day National Weather Service radar station. We locals are really glad it's here, as many times a year it gives us great warning when tornadoes are approaching our area and we need to seek shelter. Big Daddy and I hope you've enjoyed your trip to Greenwood Springs and Wise's Gap, Mississippi. We'd like to take this opportunity to encourage you to seek out some of these old-timey local historical stories and help preserve them so that others in the future may enjoy them as well, even in cases such as this when there's just really not much left. Thank you.